Children have a natural knack for asking very curious questions. Some questions, as adults, we really do not know the answer to, like, why does it rain? Well, because of there's clouds in the sky, and the clouds create rain through moisture, and there's this whole water circulation system. Well, that'll never be good enough. They don't really want to know how it rains, they want to know why it rains. And you could just be like, well, the plants need to have water, so then it rains. And then they're gonna be like, well, why do the plants need water? And then you're gonna explain it to them, and they're gonna be like, but why though? And eventually you're just gonna get to the point where you're like, well, because God willed it. And they're gonna go, well, where did God come from? Do you know the answer to that? Because I don't, and I'm pretty sure that's nowhere in the Bible. And that's a question that I asked as a child growing up. Where does God come from? Who's God's mom and dad? Maybe he doesn't have one. That's, as an adult, honestly a question that I can't answer. But you know what? There's a lot of other questions that I simply can't answer, like, what's the meaning to life? If you know, please comment down below, because there's several different meanings to life. There's not just one singular reason that we're all here. Not that we're told anyway. Awkward. Anyway, kids have a special talent for asking questions that are crazy impossible for adults to answer, because there really isn't an answer. They ask abstract questions that make both you and them really, really think hard about what exactly the answer could be, with absolutely no evidence to figure out what the answer most likely is, or what the answer definitely is. Those questions are super fun. And as a rather precocious child, I've been asking these questions from my parents for a very long time. Very long time. Probably since I could talk, I asked a lot of questions. And to my utter amazement and shock, my parents didn't always have the answer. So, for me, I spent most of my adult life trying to answer the questions that my parents could not. And I answered a few of them. I know some things that my parents just simply never even thought about. And still probably don't even think about to this day. And honestly, I don't think it affects their life too terribly much. But for me, honestly, I'm a curious person. I want to know how everything works. I want to construct things. I want to learn how to do it in theory, and then I want to do a practical example of it, a practical application. I want to study it. I want to know the insides and outs of everything. Only problem is my brain gets very, very cluttered very, very fast, and I don't always have the brain capacity to do what I'm thinking about. So, or the energy, let's just say that right now. So there's that. But this video today is actually on that topic of parents being kind of on a pedestal by kids. Kids ask a lot of questions, and for the most part, you're their caretaker, and you know the answers to their questions. But that doesn't always mean that their questions have an answer, and sometimes you just have to guess it out and see if it's satisfying enough for them. But sometimes they're not satisfied, and they go off to become historians because they really want to look back at the beginning of everything. Hi, it's Kate, and I just wanted to log today. One of the things that I've been thinking about lately as my husband and I go through our TTC journey is just thinking about how parents really don't know as much as they're believed to know. They're kind of seen on a pedestal by, their children. And so I just wanted to kind of I'm thinking a lot about that lately. Like, I'm not perfect. There's so many things I still don't know as a person. And I have my bachelor's degree now, and there's always more information to learn. And children are going to really teach you a lot in your life as they grow, and you're going to grow as well. So there's that, and I just really have been thinking a lot about children. You really have children at a pretty early age, considering your life expectancy. You have children still when you don't know, you know some information, but you don't know a whole lot of information that you're going to need in order to really be able to guide your child all the way. And just thinking back on my childhood and growing up and stuff like that, I think I didn't realize that as a child, that my parents were younger than I am now, and they really struggled with knowing the right answers and knowing how to make the right decisions. And that's something that me and my husband kind of try to make intentional decisions and like do a lot better, but there's still so many things that I don't know how to do. So many basic life things. I've never bought in a house. I've never had a credit card, although my husband he has one, so but it's just like, there's so many things I haven't done. There's so many subjects I haven't studied, and I haven't even studied my own subject that I've gotten my bachelor's in to the extent that I would like to. Many more years, that's something I'll probably be doing my whole life, is studying history. Whereas, like, you don't get to study your whole life then to become a parent. You only get to study about, on average, 18 to 30 years. And that's just kind of like a rough estimate there, but just, you get to learn some stuff, but you don't get to know everything. Here I am, 27, and I still feel like there's so much more I need to learn before becoming a parent. But I think that I will definitely learn a lot of the things that I feel like I need to learn while I learn how to become a parent. And I think that that's a super interesting concept, because we don't really think about that. We tend to put parents on a pedestal as children. We tend to think about they're older, so they know more than we do, and they know to make the right actions morally, and they know how to provide for us, and they've got all the answers. But the truth is that our parents, no one's parents have had all the answers, especially not at the early age that they raise us. And a lot of people go through life learning one thing at a time. I think where we fail as both people and parents is when we're not willing or capable to look around us at not just our mistakes, but the mistakes of those people around us. When we can learn from each other's mistakes, that's when we really can start to set the stage for how our kids perceive us, and how we can really interact with our kids and be forward and honest with our children about, we're not perfect, we don't know a lot, but what we do know, we know this, and we can help with this, but we're still learning too. Kind of just creating like a co-op between a parent and child, of just really being on the same level, because a lot of what I see is a lot of children just kind of not being really told, the mother doesn't share her emotions or anything like that. But I think that sharing your emotions with your child, and sharing how things that they do make you feel, and sharing, helping them express how they feel in certain situations, it's just a really open way of communicating with your child. And so that's something I just have been thinking a lot about lately, is just how you communicate with your child. And they have such a high view of you, they think you know it all. You've been here for way longer than they have, from their eyes. And so even though to you really haven't been here all that long, to them you've been here so much more than they have, and you have so much more knowledge and so much more value in their eyes, that it can be a very difficult position to be in as a parent, because if you don't know the answers to their questions, then how can you help them and guide them? But the thing is just to keep learning from life. Your children are going to teach you so much, and just keep communicating to your children, keep reminding them we're not perfect, but when we see, the situations, the consequences of other people's actions, or the consequences of our actions, or, when things that we decide play out, we have to take into account all of those things when making informed decisions, and we have to make informed, intentional decisions in order to really do well in life. And so I think that's like one of the big things that I've been thinking a lot about, is just really being open in communication with your children, and being honest with them, and letting them know you're not perfect and you don't know it all, but also at the same time, engaging them to think about the answer to their own questions, and just engaging them to really pick up on how to really socialize properly and how to make decisions better, because nothing is ever perfect, and as long as we're honest with kids about that, we can start to build a foundation of integrity in which they can grow out of. And I think that that's going to be the thing that most parents are going to struggle with so bad, is just being put on that pedestal and being totally imperfect human beings. And a lot of people are totally incapable of learning off of other people's mistakes, as I've found out through my life. Like, I can learn from the mistakes of others because I can feel their pain. I can feel their pain from each situation. I can empathize with them. So for me, I'm going to learn off of each of those situations, because I don't want to live a painful life. I want to live a life that's prosperous and that's progressive and that's accomplishing something. So it's always easy for me to do that, but it's really hard for a lot of people, it seems like. So and I tend to be a bit harsh on how I judge those people, but in the long run, just being able to guide your children into looking at how things are unfolding around them, and how is one person's actions, what are the consequences of those, and how is it affecting them in their life, and how is it affecting the people around them. Just kind of like building those kinds of skills and recognition of patterns and stuff like that. I think it would be really good to like help them learn how to stand on their own and kind of formulate their own thoughts and be independent decision makers with confidence, make decisions with confidence. Because when I first went out, I was just really scared of the decisions that I was going to make. I was always scared that it's going to be the wrong ones, but when I started to trust my intuition, that's when things started to go right for me, is when I started to be confident that I was not making a mistake. I was not making the same decision that I had seen so many times through all these people around me. And so I think that's really something special to share with your children, is that you're not perfect, and to allow them to continue to think that you are perfect is really going to limit the relationship between you and your child, and really going to limit what you can actually teach them. So that's something that's been on my mind lately, and I just wanted to kind of talk about that and articulate that a little bit. But yeah, alright, bye. So you know that thing you do where you answer a question with another question? That's like apparently one of the smartest ways to get kids to stop asking questions and start thinking about the answers. This is something that I came across that I think is very interesting and creative, and I think that it really makes you and your kid both stop and really think about the situation and what is the answer to the question. So this is obviously a point that I touched on. Parents are not perfect, and they don't always have the answers, and they don't always understand a lot of things that maybe kids are interested in understanding. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't know how to do, and I think I said so in my video as well. It's just like, I don't know how to do everything, and kids gonna want to know how to do anything that pops into their head, or what the meaning of anything that pops in their head is, or how things work. Kids are intuitively curious. They just naturally are curious about literally everything. And so, as a parent, my main goal is to essentially give them a platform in which they can problem solve on their own. And this is just a really cool thing that I've been thinking about. I'm still thinking about it. I do a lot of research on it. And I'm very excited to be able to finally use it one day. But, you know, for now, just knowing that there's a way to get kids to start thinking for themselves and to really participate in how you interact with your kid. It's not really all that much work. You just have to bounce the question they asked you off with, well, how do you think it works? Or, what do you think the purpose of that is? You know? So, I think that's very interesting, and that's something that I've been wanting to look into. And then on the other hand, just really coming into my own maturity and knowing, like, that I definitely want to be a kind of parent that communicates with their child and has, like, a very open relationship with their child. That's the kind of parent I want to be. And so really formulating those ideas of what, like, my parent mantra is, like, it goes past just co-sleeping or breastfeeding versus bottle feeding, or cry it out versus soothing, or whatever have you. Like, honestly, it goes way past that. And for me, I really want to get to the root of parenting. So I talk a lot about different things that pop into my head when I start thinking about me as a parent, me being responsible for the moral development of a small child. That just, like, really makes me think pretty hard. And I'm somebody that likes to ask a lot of questions, so naturally I'm going to ask a lot of questions. And one of the things that I frequently ask myself is, you know, what's the meaning to life? And I'm honing in on a theory, but it's not wide and amazing and something no one's ever thought of before. It's just kind of all around us, and having family and having kids and being able to leave that legacy behind, that's very special. So this is just one of the things that I have been thinking about lately, is just really, you don't know everything, and sharing that you don't know everything with your kid may not be such a bad idea. Some things you can learn together, and really having an open mind for that is, I mean, it makes you a more flexible parent to be able to learn with your kid instead of just rejecting your kid's ideas or telling them something just to write them off or what have you. For me personally, I think that I'm really excited about being able to hear my kids' questions and being able to answer them or think about them. And so that's something that I find really entertaining and really thought-provoking. But if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit that notifications button if you're interested in hearing more.